Hello and welcome back to the top 85 games for the BBC Micro video countdown series. In at number 47, it's an arcade cabinet classic, it's Centipede. Now this one came out in 1983 from Superior Software. It was developed by Richard Hansen. You can see him there on the right with his brother Steve, two of the big brains behind Superior Software, of course. And Richard based this game on, of course, the famous arcade cabinet game that came out from Atari in 1981, also known as Centipede. Now, this game has an interesting backstory. So it was developed by a duo, Ed Logg and Donna Bailey. But Donna Bailey was the, if you like, the sort of designer behind the game, and she had a sort of stated aim that she was quite keen for Centipede to appeal to both male and female players. Games like Defender, for example, that came out around the same time, had a roughly 95% male user base, and Donna, who you can see there in the photo, she was quite keen to create an arcade game that would actually have a sort of greater appeal to female players. And that actually was borne out by the user statistics as well. So Centipede had a roughly 50-50 user base back in the 80s, certainly during its sort of arcade days. So yes, it's commendable to think that she was able to come up with a game that would have mass appeal and not just target the male user base that existed back then. Anyway, that's enough of the history. Let's take a look at Richard Hansen's edition of Centipede. Right, let's fire it up. There we are, Superior Software presents Centipede. Lovely little jingle at the start. There we go, RMP Hansen, or Richard Hansen. So do we want instructions? Well, we'll take a look. So you can see the number of points available for some of the baddies that we're going to encounter. Slightly different score for a centipede head versus a body segment. There we go, fairly simple controls as well. So we're going to go with level 1 because it's me after all, and we might want to see a bit more than a few seconds of the game. So here we go. So as you can see, I'm at the bottom there. That's my little gun turret. I think in the arcade edition it was meant to be a gnome with a some sort of bow and arrow that he was firing at the accursed centipede that comes roaming down the screen. Now you can see that Richard has put a bit of thought into the game here to make it a little bit more challenging. You have to wait until your missile or arrow, let's say, has reached the top of the screen or collided with something before you can fire another one. So this actually makes it more challenging than you might think, because obviously if you do accidentally fire and miss, then your arrow has to go all the way to the... There we go, you see? You can't refire, and particularly when the centipede is very low down at the bottom there, that really does impact your ability to fight him off. If you manage to hit the segment time and time again, you can actually clear a decent amount of the centipede at the bottom. But unfortunately, if you do miss, as I I'm demonstrating pretty well, yes, there you go, see? Oh, there we go, oh no, he's got me. I did have a good practice. I know I always say this. I did have a good practice run where I actually managed to get through quite a few centipedes, but I'm sticking with the first one at the moment. Okay, there we go. Now just carefully time it. There we are. Let's get that snail as well. Interesting that the snail is worth so many points, given that it just sort of plods across the screen. I mean, you'd think something like this spider here would be worth a bit more, but anyway, I will not reason with the point system. If I get more points for a snail, that's fine with me. Now you'll notice that when you hit or when you create a break, oh no, oh dear. Yes, when you create a break in the centipede's body, it actually creates multiple centipede heads, which are worth more points. So in some respects, it's better for you if you do manage to sort of split the centipede into multiple components, assuming that you can actually defeat him in the end before he nabs you at the bottom. But yeah, I mean, as a sort of game concept, it's really good fun. And I mean, oh dear, oh. So that slight sense of frustration when you realise that yes, you're really not going to get out of this one. Yes, it's a really lovely adaptation of the arcade version. I think it's got lots going for it, and I think Richard's done a brilliant job with this one. Oh, okay, there we go. It really does feel like the arcade version, and it's the speed of it. Oh. I can't believe I've just died at the hands of a spider. That's really disappointing. Yeah, the speed of it, the sort of frenetic feel. Oh, I always miss those fleas. Never quite managed to get them. Yeah, it's just really well done. And it's one of those games you do have to pay quite a lot of attention to it if you're going to succeed, because you mustn't. Yeah, there we go. You mustn't sort of get lulled into a false sense of security, thinking, well, the centipede's a long way off. First of all, it moves very, very fast, and also you've got all these other sort of obstacles hurling themselves at you, like a suddenly descending flea or a spider. Oh dear. And of course the centipede itself. Oh dear, that's not so good, is it? Didn't do any better than I did the first time round. All right, let's see if we can do a little bit better. Also a big fan of the Toadstools. I think, I don't know, something about them just looks pretty fun. Sort of hint of Super Mario about them, I guess. Of course, those are technically mushrooms rather than toadstools. Interesting piece of trivia for you. There is actually no biological difference between toadstools and mushrooms. Toadstool is just an old-fashioned word that was used to designate a poisonous mushroom, but in fact, in contemporary zoology, I think you'd call it zoology, botany maybe, there's actually no difference, so it doesn't designate any significant difference between structure and what it's made up of. So not really quite sure why I shared that fact with you. I think it was because I was reading a book about mushrooms recently, but yes, there you go. But yes, very nicely picked out in red and white. Great colour scheme actually for Centipede as well. Really sort of vibrant looking colours, and I do like the sort of migraine-inducing colour flash that you get when you die as well. Could try and pretend that's why I keep dying, so that I get to see that lovely display of colours, but of course it's really just my lamentable game style. There we are. We've got to a red centipede now. This is good. This is about as far as we got before. Right, mustn't ignore that spider like I did last time. Oh, he's back again. Now, if I can get that snail, I'd get myself an extra life, which might be. Oh no. Oh dear. Oh, that was it for that one. Oh, rank 2 again. This is interesting sort of score table. You only get 5 places in this one, so it's not like the sort of traditional top 10 Hall of Fame. So yes, I mean it's a really good fun game. I mean, I think Centipede is fairly timeless. Certainly a lot more, I would say, a lot more exciting than Snake, which is a fairly simplistic game by comparison. There's a lot more going on in Centipede. And I mean, there have been so many clones of Centipede as well. I mean, I think there's even one called Millipede out there somewhere. Oh no! I thought I had him then. I think, if memory serves me correctly, this actually first came out under the name Centibug. I'm not sure if that's because Superior Software weren't initially able or weren't sure if they could sell the game under the name of Centipede, but as you can see at the top there, the game, or this edition of it, definitely came out with the name Centipede, and certainly the version I had when I was growing up was definitely called Centipede. I'm fairly sure on the BBC Games archive you can get the Centibug edition as well, if that's the version that you remember. Oh my goodness, there's spiders galore here. Right, come on. Oh, I have to say that feature of the game that once you've fired, you have to wait until you can recharge again. That really does. I mean, that's essentially what makes it the game it is. Ultimately, if you could just blast with abandon, it would be a lot easier because you could essentially just hold down the old fire key there, like you might in something like Zalaga, and just blast your way to success. But Centipede requires a little bit more skill than that. So. Power to Superior Software's elbow on that. Come on. Oh, no! Once again, the game defeats me. My poor accuracy at firing. Oh dear. I'll just ignore that spider, I think. Let him go on his merry way. They do say that you shouldn't kill spiders because they are quite helpful creatures, especially around the home. You deal with unwanted flies. Oh, seems to be a recurring pattern here. Do leave me a comment if you've had better success at Centipede. I know some people are obviously a lot better at it than I am. I'm fairly sure there's ways of playing that guarantee a sort of better success rate than than I'm managing here. It's always that last segment, isn't it? Every time. I feel like I'm just going to get there, and the Centipede outwits me again. Outwitted by well, an invertebrate, I suppose. That's probably what you would call it. Not an insect, of course. It's got more than 6 legs. Quite a lot more, famously. Oh. I just can't time it right, can I? Oh, dear. I need to fire probably after the point at which I think I need to. Maybe that would be the way to do it. Or before? Well, I probably couldn't do it before I think I need to. That doesn't really work, does it? Ooh, maybe I should follow the centipede. Maybe that's the knack. Rather than doing my sort of stationary, my lazy version of centipede playing, and just sort of parking myself here at the bottom and just waiting for the centipede to come into the line of my own gun sight. Go away, spider. Yes. Oh, that's definitely no, but still not quite enough to save my bacon on that occasion. But yes, I think that must be at the root of success, though. I mean, it'd be nice if I could get rid of the centipede before it gets all the way down to the bottom, but I think that might be asking for a bit too much. Oh, come on. Oh. 2 segments at the end there. Goodness me. Well, I've managed to fill up the top 5 there completely with my name, so I suppose that's I don't know if you can call that an achievement, really, given the lamentable scores that I'm doing it with. Of course, if I was playing with a better player than I think my name would be anywhere in that table, but I sort of don't think I'd be... Oh... Certainly wouldn't be doing enough to get my name into the top 5 in a genuine arcade. Just think of the number of coins I'd be using up as well. The number of replays I'm having to do here. Oh dear. But yes, I mean, you know, when all's said and done, it's a brilliant game. Really, really good fun. And yeah, I sort of partly feel a little bad bringing it in at this level, but I feel that, you know, if I'm being honest about the graphics of it, I mean, there are certainly games with similarly enjoyable gameplay, but, you know, it has to be said, somewhat better graphics. But, you know, I definitely wouldn't hold it against Centipede for that, because, I mean, if nothing else, those Centipede segments, they sure can race along, and I think that more than makes up for any deficiencies that we might have in the graphics department. Okay. Oh, come on. There we go, and a snail. Fantastic. All right. Can I get a better score than my current high score? That's the question. I have to say probably not, given that I don't have any more lives, but this could be the end here. Ah, so close yet so far. Still only ranked number 2. All right, well, we'll give it another go, because I do like to give these games a sort of fair hearing, particularly when they're as enjoyable as Centipede is. As I was saying before, do leave me a comment if you have any tactics for Centipede other than my sort of lately discovered follow the Centipede tactic, which, you know, does seem to be improving my odds somewhat. And just in general, actually, if you've played Centipede, would love to hear from you what you think of it as a game. I mean, I think it's fairly well established as an arcade classic. But this Beeb edition of it is particularly good. I notice on the BBC Games Archive website there are a lot of versions of Centipede. If you search for Centipede, I think it's got its own secondary genre, to be honest. But if you search for Centipede, you will find quite a lot of clones, some of which I think are even magazine type-in listings, which is quite impressive to get one of those rendered in, one assumes, basic. I mean, this one clearly has been written in assembly code because it's so fast. There's no way this one is a basic program, but yeah. Should add, by the way, I know I've made comments like that in previous videos, so I am in no way suggesting that BBC Basic is an inferior programming language. Far from it. It's the only language I was able to program in at the time, and you can do a lot with it. But when it comes to rendering the sort of speeds of particularly an arcade-style game, you do need the 6502 assembly knowledge to really pull off the kind of speeds that we're seeing here. As unfortunately, the time taken to go through the basic interpreter doesn't really allow for this sort of speed in gameplay. Oh. Mind you, looking up at the top left there, I'm definitely doing better than I have been. So clearly I'm doing something right here. Maybe just sheer length of gameplay at this point. But anyway, let's see. Ooh, come on. Can we get this one? Yes. Oh, really flying along here. Let's see if we can get it into 5-digit score, shall we? 5 figures would be nice. Polish off another spider, and there we go. God, spiders are non-stop at this point. I'm quite sure if there's a ooh, I say, we've even got a refresh of the Toadstools. That's how far we've come. Excellent stuff. Flying along here. Still only got 1 life to go, but... Oh, here we are. Deal with the spider there. Well, I mean, I've clearly saved the best till last here in terms of gameplay. I was doing myself a bit of a disservice earlier. I've obviously managed to remember a little bit about my centipeding. Oh dear, there we are. Well, we're down to the last life, so as is often the way, as soon as I congratulate myself in these videos, that's when things start to take a turn for the worse. But anyway, we'll see how we get on with this green meanie. Okay, almost there. No, oh, would you believe it? I went out on a spider. But there it is. That was definitely my best score of the run, and I think we're probably going to call it a day there on Centipede. I hope you've enjoyed reliving that game for those of you that have played it before, and if by some odd quirk of fate you've never actually come across Centipede either on the Beeb or anywhere else, do definitely give it a go. And indeed, if you've played a clone of Centipede that wasn't the superior software version from Richard Hansen, again, do please look out this version and try it out, because it really is good fun. Anyway, going to leave it there. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you'll join me for the next video in the series. Until then, goodbye.